Hey there YouTube, it's your boy B3 back with another kicking action figure review! This is the last figure I have to review, and then I'm probably not going to buy figures for a while. It is the Diamond Select Universal Studios Monsters, The Phantom of the Opera. This is the silent film Phantom of the Opera, played by Lon Chaney Sr., just an incredible silent era actor. He did his own makeup, the Man of a Thousand Faces, and that's still unprecedented to this very day. This movie scared the crap out of Ray Bradbury as a kid. Sadly, the set was torn down in 2014 to make way for the wizarding world of Harry Potter. I found out on a live stream recently. Someone hooked me up with that information. I can't remember their name. I'm sorry if you're watching this. But yeah, I've kind of been thinking about this movie a lot, and I think that's because I was building up to the review of this. I wish I had more of these Universal Monsters figures. I only have a few, and you'll see them in the size comparisons, but here, we got them in the front package. Diamond Select is trying to move away from the big packages like this, I feel like. You got Lon Chaney Sr. there on the front, Lon Chaney Sr. there on the side. On the back, the Paris Opera House is haunted! A shadowy figure watches every show from Box 5, and angry letters from the Phantom demand that understudy Christine be given the lead role. If his demands are not met, the season will end in death! Based on the original 1925 Universal Studios adaptation of the novel, this feature accurately recreates Lon Chaney's hideous, self-applied makeup, which was kept secret until the film's appearance, as well as the organ he plays when he is finally unmasked. I love that unmasking scene. From the angle it's shot at, it makes it look like he has no nose. It's great. It's a great reveal. It's still the best Phantom of the Opera face reveal, and I've probably seen every Phantom of the Opera movie. The romance ones, the musical, everything. There's also shows off the This Island Earth figure. That's a fun movie. The Mummy, that's a good movie, but it's basically Dracula, but with a different monster. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, that's also the Lon Chaney one. I really like that movie too, but I don't collect Mini-Mates. So, yeah, let's bust them out of package. I hope you're all ready, because the Phantom of the Opera is here. An action figure. So cool. What a cool figure. Hopefully it'll be sturdier than the Frankenstein's monster was, because it broke pretty much immediately. But this guy seems like a heavy improvement over the Frankenstein's monster. He has much more articulation. Obviously a later release. There were multiple Frankenstein's monsters. I'm talking the original one that came on the operating table. But yeah, this is beautiful. It looks gorgeous. What I really like is how they made him black and white, because not only is it more accurate to the film itself because it was a black and white silent picture, but also it kind of makes him look more ghoulish, more unnatural, and that's fantastic. I love his hands. I know they're supposed to be like piano playing hands, but I really like, one thing I really like about horror back then was that they'd have these creepy hands all the time. I like to call them Bela Lugosi fingers. And I really think he's got them. He's got the Bela Lugosi fingers down, even though, of course, he did it before Bela Lugosi. But I feel like when I think about it, I think Dracula. So I call him Bela Lugosi fingers. But he comes with many things. He has the two piano hands, as you can see here. He has this holding hand, which is designed to hold Don Juan Triumphant. It's got a little sticky bit on it because of the tape. I gotta wash it a little bit. But this is Don Juan, which also sits on the frickin' organ. Okay, so the organ is the coolest accessory. These Universal Monsters came with some really big, really cool things. I wish there was an open Don Juan. I'd rather have an open Don Juan, because that makes more sense than just having the closed Don Juan. If I had to choose, getting both I don't expect, but if I had to choose between a closed Don Juan Triumphant and an open Don Juan Triumphant, I would choose an open one, with little music notes painted on the pages. Yes, and I can actually read music. Bass clef. bass clef I know the notes for, but I can still read the tune for treble. He also comes with this bit of tile to stand on if he has any trouble standing, but mine doesn't seem to. But let's take a closer look at this organ. A nice aged wood look. The keys are painted very clean. It's hollow in the back, obviously. It doesn't really need to have anything on the back, I feel like. But this is nice. This is really nice. You can draw up your own pages to put up here. This is a nice piece. This is a really nice piece. I keep smacking it on the table like a dummy. So yeah, let's take a look at our Phantom. Lots of people would probably want their Phantom to have a masked and unmasked head. I don't care that there is not a masked head. Let's say they made an action figure for every single Phantom of the Opera movie. Let's say I had them all. I would display them all with mask on, except this one. So I would display him without a mask anyway, so I'm not too concerned. However, I feel like that is something that a lot of collectors would expect. Either a masked head or a mask that was removable, something like that. So the fact that the Phantom of the Opera doesn't really have a mask is a bit odd. However, once again, I have to say this. When I think of other Phantom of the Operas, I think of them with mask on. When I think of this Phantom of the Opera, I think of him with mask off. I'm going to be straight up with you. I don't remember what his mask even looks like. Because this image, this horrific image, is so burned into my mind that I honestly just don't remember. He's bald, he's got this weird haircut, which is just supposed to make him look even creepier. I like the different blacks. Like, there's the more matte black, but there's also like a shinier black. I think that's really well done. Oh, God. I have to watch this again now. I have a copy of this movie. I have a copy of a lot of his silent films. If Only London After Midnight was not lost. Just absolutely gorgeous figure. Now let's talk about articulation, though. Part of me is a little afraid to articulate him because these things don't have the best quality control. Side to side on the head, not really any up and down. Up and down on the arms, forward and back on the arms. You got an elbow rotation, elbow bend, wrist rotation. Forward and back is supposed to be on the wrists. Mine don't really want to move. I need to heat them up before I try that. So, once again, this is kind of from an era of Diamond Select where it wasn't as trusting with the articulation. And Diamond Select still isn't, because some of my Pacific Rim Diamond Select figures have just fallen apart. The Pacific Rim Uprising ones. And those are some of the more recent figures. In and out on the leg, forward and back on the leg, but it barely goes forward at all. Thigh swivel. Knee bend. Foot rotation. That's it. That's not very good articulation. But it's much better than the articulation on... it's kind of in the middle. I have 3 of these. The Frankenstein's monster is the worst articulation-wise. The This Island Earth mutant is the best, and then this guy's in the center there. It'd be nice if he was able to sit, because then I could have him on a bench up to this, because I have some benches for figures, and it'd be nice if the Phantom could actually sit to play the organ. But he can kind of not really reach it either. He can't reach the organ, you see? He has to be like right up against it, humping it to reach it. That's a little odd, but I'm still very thankful for the organ. Ooh, I love the organ. Ah! Spooked me. Spooky! I feel like I'm... Ah! Christ! I feel like I'm talking a lot in this review, and I should be talking less, because I'm getting so sidetracked, but Universal Horror is such a passion of mine. Anyways, we're going to do some size comparisons now, so sue me. We're actually going to show him off. I've got to move all this SH Figure Arts stuff I have out. I'm going to show him off with the Frankenstein's monster I mentioned. And the This Island Earth mutant. This Island Earth was actually in color. So here they are, all together. I feel like Frankenstein's monster should be a little taller. I mean, you can literally see the lifts in his shoes, so I feel like they should have made Frankenstein's monster a little bigger, but that seems to be a problem with Frankenstein's monster, because he sizes great with the This Island Earth mutant. Fantastically. But they're going to be displayed together, and I do want to show him with one more monster. This one's not Universal. It's RKO, because it's the original. Well, in my mind, I'm comparing it as if it were the original. I think it's actually supposed to be the comic book version. From Skull Island. The Mezco King Kong. I know. King Kong's way too small. You don't have to tell me. But it's the same type of film. Kong was an adventure film with horror elements. So I thought it was a relevant size comparison. But there you go. I think he'll look well with the rest of my Universal monsters. I'll probably display Kong. Kong has never gone on display because he's such a fantastic figure that I keep him out. But if he went on display, Kong would go with Kaiju. But those three that you saw earlier would absolutely be displayed together. I had these guys in display with Aliens and Predators. But I kind of took that display down. So we'll see. But I really want more of these. Not so much the Dracula, because it doesn't really look like Bela Lugosi, but the Hunchback of Notre Dame I really want. The Son of Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster would be great, especially since this one's broken. But I glued his parts back on that fell off. But yeah, that's it. So what are my final thoughts on the Diamond Select Universal Monsters Phantom of the Opera? I really like it. The articulation is bad. He's poorly articulated. An adult collectible of the Phantom of the Opera should come with a masked option. Absolutely. But I don't mind, because this Phantom is famous for being unmasked, while other Phantoms are kind of famous for being masked. So it makes... Fuck! Sense. I guess I should have had him on the tiles, huh? But, if you're like a classic silent Universal horror fan, this is a must for your collection. Even if you don't really collect action figures, it'd be a cool piece just on your movie shelf or something, you know? Like, I have a friend who's not an action figure collector, but he's a gamer, but he has, like, some Borderlands figures that he's getting to put around his game room. And I think that's pretty cool. So, definitely look into these Universal Monster figures. Next on my list is probably the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and then the Mummy. No, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Creature from the Black Lagoon, then the Mummy. I'll get them one day, but you probably, honestly, won't see an action figure review for a while. I'm not going to be buying action figures for a while, and lots of these that I reviewed recently were actually just figures that I just hadn't reviewed, or figures that were in package that I decided to open. So you won't see a lot of figures, because I haven't been buying a lot of figures recently, but I do plan on trying to bring you guys more and more content. I post the most content on the second channel, oddly enough. If you want to check out B3 Productions, our second channel, that's where most of my content is these days, because all my podcasts get posted there and everything. Speaking of podcasts, you can find links to them in the description below, as well as many, many other things. If you'd like to support our videos, support us on Patreon. That's it. Thank you all once again, and I'll see you all next time from my seat in Box 5.